Huddle up, teammates, and welcome to another episode of The Coach's Huddle. I'm your host, Coach Hudson. This week, The Huddle adds lights, cameras, action as we bring in actor Jesse Bingham, and we talk about some of the struggles he went through as he began and is going through his acting career. The perils of rejection, the joy of acceptance, the difficulties of acting. What does it take? Do you really just move to Hollywood and make it big? Well, come on in the huddle, sit down, let's find out, and let's see what Jesse has to say. Huddle up, teammates, ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, the huddle is back. And guess what? We've taken our lights, camera, and action to Hollywood, people. I'm taking you everywhere. And this week, I'm bringing you an up-and-coming star. Ladies and gentlemen, you heard of Denzel? Yeah, you may have heard of him. You may have heard of Morgan Freeman. You probably heard of him. And I know you've heard of Coach Hudson, but let me tell you somebody you're about to start hearing about. My man, 50 grand, Jesse Bingham. Jesse, how you doing today, baby?
Outstanding, champ. What's going on, Coach?
Man, first off, thank you for taking the time to sit down with us and join the huddle, man. We're looking forward to talking with you and seeing the good nuggets and jewels you're going to give us, man. But how's life been treating you out here? How's 2020 going for Jesse?
Man, it's good. I mean, it's as good as it is for everybody else, but, I try to make it a little better for myself.
I know it's been a trying year. Now I don't know if you saying it's going good. I don't know if that's one of your acting skills. You put them on display early. I don't know if you already are you in character? Have we started already? I mean, what in the script, Jesse?
Nah, man. I'm one of those that believe, adversity is everywhere. You always gonna run into some adversity. And through my time, I learned the philosophy.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thriving versus surviving mentality, the poverty versus prosperity, ideas. And that's really, when no matter what we do, no matter where we go, we're always going to run into struggle. Always. It's just inevitable. It's part of life. So in that case, I got to figure. So my goal is to figure out ways to succeed, not just try not to lose.
That's true.
What I'm saying? Like this survival is just trying not to die. Thriving is trying to live as much as you like, trying to produce as much as you can. Looking at my current situations and what can I get out of this situation that I'm in? How can I proceed from here? With the nonsense in mind, but how do I proceed from here?
And it's funny that you say that. I think it's a great lead in into the title of this episode is Fake It Until You Make It. And it's really understanding what you have to do to get to where you got to get to. But
Right.
before we get to where you are, we got to back it up. We got to beep, beep. Where did it all start? Now, listen, Jesse, you started off in the military, serving your country. First off, let me thank you for your service. That is very important to everybody. That's truly. And you were in the Air Force, but then you got out of the Air Force. But how do you go from warheads on foreheads to Saving Private Ryan and motion pictures? How does this happen, man?
It actually started before the military.
Okay.
Like, believe it or not, I'm originally from LA. And what ended up happening was I was playing football. And I was going to college and I was playing football. And it just didn't. Like, I had a very close relative, like a brother of mine that died.
Sorry for your loss.
Oh, thanks, man. And football just didn't taste the same anymore. It didn't feel the same, didn't taste the same. I couldn't focus on it, and I didn't want to do it anymore. What ends up happening is I decided to do the only other thing I had ever done that I thought was pretty fun, and I was act. I didn't know nothing about acting, so I was like, all right, well, I got to figure it out. Start watching these movies and start watching these shows, and something called Inside the Actor Studio came on, and I was like, oh, okay, so acting is taking life experiences and applying them to, these created people.
Okay.
And I was like 20. I was like, I don't know nothing about life. I'm like 19. I was like, what I know about life? So I was like, all right, I need to leave LA.
You set out on this journey. You set out on this journey to be this next great. Take me through the moment on your first audition, because I know it had to be nervous. You going in there, got the bubbles, stomachs. Mm-hmm. Take me through that moment. Were you nervous? Did you get that first role that you auditioned for? How did that go?
No, I did not. I bombed.
Okay.
It was. I was actually, believe it or not, I was in the military when I got my first audition.
Okay.
And because I found out, I got in the military, and I got in the military, and I immediately created a 5-year plan. I was like, I'm gonna be out in 5. I'm done after 4 years. I'm gonna be back in LA and I'm gonna do it this way. And it didn't work out that way. So I was in there and I'm working, I'm trying to find these angles. I end up being a manager. I'm start doing some film stuff in the military, with the military. Then I got a manager and they sent me on this audition. I was in San Antonio. Bombed it. It was terrible.
That's tough, man. That, you know, as humans in life, man, first off, people fear a lot of things. Some people fear the boogeyman. Some people fear spiders. Some people fear clowns. Now, don't be telling everybody I told you this, even though I'm putting this on wax, man. I'm definitely afraid of frogs, man. Everybody's afraid. Listen, don't be laughing at me. Okay?
I'm not judging.
Listen. Current is probably the only one I can rock with, okay? People are afraid of what they're afraid of. But one thing that a lot of people are afraid of, and one thing that makes people cower, is rejection. Right. Having this 5-year plan that you mentioned. You said, I got 5 years and I'm going to do this, do this, do that. But then you meet your first audition with rejection. One of the hardest things to deal with. What kept you going?
I don't like losing.
Facts.
Facts. That was it, man.
Facts.
Like, man, my parents told me a long time ago, they were like, son, I don't care what you become in life. Just be your best at it. If you're going to be a bum, literally, I quote you not. They said, if you're going to be homeless, be the only homeless person with your name on the curb.
You know what? That's going to be my motivational quote for today. I just want you to know I'm still in that. And this won't even air till Saturday, so they won't even know I stole it from you until they watch this episode. But if, ladies and gentlemen, if you're going to be the bum, be the one that has your name on the curb. I love it.
So for me, that was it. Like, I don't like losing. I can't stand, wasting time. So I was like, okay, so what do I have to do to get the next one? Like, and that's just kind of, I don't know, it was like, that's how I built it.
You battled after. That's good. And that shows the resiliency that people want to get after. So let's talk about now you're in your career. Now, mind you, I looked at your filmography. Now, I may not be using the right filmography word, but I tend to make up words. You just got to roll with the punches.
Look, if you got a definition, it's a word.
Yeah, there you go. I like your thinking. Now, you don't been credited in 23 projects. You got some upcoming projects. You don't done movies. You don't done TV commercials. I mean, you don't been an executive producer, assistants, man. But as a Black actor, do you feel there is a bias in the roles that you're offering? Yeah. Oh, okay. We're going to get right into it, huh? Well, go for it.
No, I seen you. No, yeah.
Yeah, it's
historically.
There, huh? Historically. So do you feel that you get passed over because you are a Black actor?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, it happens, and it's, how can I put it, man? It's the way the industry works. The industry was designed by wealthy white men, and that's not a disparaging comment about wealthy white men, but it's just the fact that the industry was designed by wealthy white men. The fact that the first on-screen kiss between a black person and a white person was in Star Trek, and they had to make that happen. Like, if William Shatner made them do it, and he didn't make them do it by saying, executive producer, this is what I want, I'm going to do it. They took one perfect take, and the rest of them he intentionally messed up. They made him take like 50 takes of that one kiss.
Wow, that's some film history for y'all. That is some film history for y'all.
Even to this day, you'll never see an A-list Black male celebrity kissing an A-list white female celebrity. There was literally rules that said that you, as a Black person, cannot kiss a white person on camera. And that creates certain biases because of a lot of the social class racism situations in America. People, they didn't want to put images on TV. They didn't want to put, and Black Panther, the comic book, was the first Black superhero, and they didn't even want him to have they said it was too much black skin on the cover. And so he ended up with a full mask on. So it's like there's an inherent bias because the people who create the industry, who architect the industry, made rules. And with those rules, create certain things. So the person who's doing it might not be racist, but they still want their money.
Now, has there been breakthroughs in this? Has there been progression? Because it's easy. Yes. I don't want to sit here and say that everything has been, Jim Crow and it's never changed, because times have changed. Some of the biggest actors that I see now are some African Americans. There's some great, there's great actors in every skin shade, color, tone, everything. So
There's
have
always
you
been great
seen,
African American actors.
exactly, but have you seen breakthroughs in this, and have you seen it move
Yeah,
away from these times?
yeah. Breakthroughs happen when more people like us get behind the camera and get behind the thing. That's the only how it works because stories that are shown, even just this, you have a media platform.
Facts.
You can bring on and say and do whatever you choose to on this media platform, and it's that simple. The more people, like Oscar Micheaux was the first uh, producer, like black film industry owner. Like I own my own everything. So they called him the czar of Black Hollywood back in the day. He was like, this is long, long, long time ago. So things like that. Tyler Perry having a sound stage,
Whole,
not just a
whole
studio,
studio.
a sound. He has sound stages, and Hollywood has to come to him. He doesn't have to go to their doorstep.
Now, real quick, I don't like to cut people off, but
No, cool.
for the average person, help us understand the power of having a sound stage. Because when I look at it, I'm like, oh, he got his own studio, so he can make his own movies. So when
Right.
you say sound stage and Hollywood coming to him, I can just tell in the inflection in your voice that holds more weight than me just saying he has his own studio. But for the average person, they may not understand it. Help me understand that.
Okay, think of it like what would you call them? Like a store, like
Okay.
economics, right? So you got on one end, you got the consumer. That's the person who goes out to the store to purchase. Then you have the store owner, and that's just the person who collects the material and distributes. Before him, you have the place where the things are made.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like I make products, the manufacturing company, the manufacturer. A soundstage is where films go to get made.
Okay.
People prefer to work because you can do a film on location or a soundstage. Like what Tyler Perry has is like, you ever been to Universal Studios Hollywood?
Yes, sir.
Or like,
I grew up in Miami. We went all the time.
he has Universal Studios. He has basically what Universal Studios. You ever been to the one in LA?
Yes.
It's a sound. That's an actual soundstage. Everything on there. You've been on the tour.
Yeah, where they make the move. Oh, okay, I get what you're
That's
saying.
an actual soundstage. Like he can. This street can be like if you ever in the one in Hollywood, you can like
You
they
can make
take you
it
on a
into anything
tour.
you want.
You going through one street, and that street is where Desperate Housewives are. But at the corner, on that corner, is Bates Motel, and then around the corner from there is Mexico, and then around the corner from there is Indiana Jones and Last Crusade. That's where it's a manufacturing plant. It's where movies are made. It's property. So having that, he can say any movie I want to get made is going to be made here. Where you take MGM for example, the guy who created MGM is the same guy who produced and made the movie, The Original Birth of a Nation, probably the most racist movie in the history of America, which was based on the book about the Klan and the Klan being the savior of America. Now think about that. He made that movie, then turned around and became the founder of one of the largest movie studios in the world. Did you think that changed how he thought? Nah, he just made the movie that he allowed movies to be made that he wanted to make. But now you got a guy like Tyler Perry who can support the creation of more stories that are more diverse and show the different layers, and not just dark skinned guy number three, or matter of fact, you take one of the worst, Dirty Harry.
Okay.
Do you feel lucky, Punk? That whole scene.
Yeah. I know Dirty Harry.
He's talking to a black guy, right? That's who he's talking to. And then the guy throws his gun down, and this is the moments after that famous line. I got to know. That's who we were in film in the 80s. So yeah, there's definitely been progress. And what changes is the fact that we got people like you, we have people like Tyler Perry, we have people Mario Van Peebles and John Singleton and Hughes Brothers and Spike Lee, writers that we don't even know, that feel free to write these stories and have the opportunity to get them made and show these different layers and different colors of black men and women.
So basically, Tyler Perry and some of these other people that you listed, I mean, definitely throwing some audibles on the plates to change some things up. So that's big ups to them, and big ups to all producers, everybody. one thing that I really want to make sure that people understand, I'm all about anybody and everybody doing their thing, but I
Mm-hmm.
want everybody to be able to show their thing equally. And that's something that hasn't been done, but it's something that's beginning to make the right progress in the right direction. So you've been acting for quite some time now. And
Right.
I always wanted this, like, how do you go to work all day and you play this mob boss? Look at me. Say hello to my little friend, okay? And then you come home and you got to take care of the family. How do you juggle these different characters? Or do you become naturally like multi-personality? How do you balance the two? Or the three or four? I mean, how many roles you been playing, man?
It depends, man. Like it's not easy. It depends on because sometimes you have to like. I remember being in the military, and we can be doing like I worked in a hospital, so we're in the middle of like inspection, and everybody's freaking out. 12, 13-hour days, shenanigans, everything's going crazy, and then you got to come home.
Mm-hmm.
You got to come home, and you still got to be dad. You still have to be husband. You still have to be emotionally available. And I think for everybody it's different. Like you have to be we have to be responsible for what we do, how we feel, how we behave. Because as men, we don't get certain wiggle rooms, and that's a cultural thing.
Cultural
We
thing.
don't we don't get wiggle room. You know what I mean? Like if you sad, you upset. Well, okay, you sad and upset. That's
Suck
cool.
it up. Suck it up,
So
buttercup.
what you gonna do now? That was the advice my dad always gave when I was a kid. I'm tired. Dad, this happened, that happened, blah blah blah. He looked at me. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So what you gonna do? So for me personally, sometimes I just gotta find time to decompress, especially if I've been on set and I'm having these intense. And I had an intense day. I had to be an intense character. It's emotionally draining, and you know I have to sometimes depend on my wife to understand that and kind of help me. Hey, give your dad, 30 minutes before you start.
Before
Tell
you
me some
hit him
stories.
with everything else. Because
Tell me stories.
they don't wait. They don't
Nah,
wait.
no
Kids
shit.
don't care what your day was. They coming with it, and
No
and
shit.
as they should, man. Because they don't care about what your day
That's
was.
their job.
Their job is to be your child, and they want to do that 110%. All right, I got another one for you. So I know with acting, when it's good, it's good. When you got roles and everything's going and you getting paid, everything's good. And but acting such a career that's dependent on other people's feelings of you. When I work at the military, I'm in. Go to work. I'm coming in whether my supervisor like me, whether my supervisor don't. He can't really fire me. He can move me around. He got some other things that they can do. But I have a job. How is it? Or how do you support the family when roles aren't going? People stop shooting, budgets run out. So the film or the series that you were banking on getting greenlit for another season just got canceled. How does you and your family deal with those difficult times and those stressful situations?
One, I'll say I was a little different. I was fortunate in the sense that I thought about this. I thought about these things going in. So I said one thing I'm not going to be as a starving actor. I grew up in LA in the '80s. You know what I mean? Like one thing I was not interested in was not eating.
Yeah.
You know, so like I said, I had a mindset going in. Even with my wife, like I should when I was in the military, one thing I wanted to make sure I did. I'm like, I'm in the military, my check coming. My
Mhm.
wife is in the military, check coming. So I wanted to encourage her because she was like, all right, I'm getting out. It's like that. So this is how we gonna do it. So I encouraged her, hey, whatever job you want, how much ever education you need, I got you.
Handle it.
Go. Because when I get out, I don't want this situation where because we talked, it was like one of us, if both of us can't stay in. So when I got out, so by the time I got out, she was already established in the job while my post military stuff was
Rolling.
developing and setting itself up. So, even all those things. So when you're not acting, like that's the thing about it's like it's a hustler's business. You're not gonna eat if you're not going to eat. You gotta get it how you live. And if you're the type of person that is confident in waiting on someone else to bring you your bread, to give you your opportunity, you're going to eat like somebody like that, or you're going to have to do things to, you know, to gain, what do you call that? Like other people's. favorite.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where you find that you see them Hollywood stories. Like, man, listen, like, so how'd you end up? And, like,
Yeah. You did some strange things for a
it's
piece
a
of change.
strange thing with this change, huh?
Mm-hmm.
So you see what I'm saying? Like other people, you don't hear about. Like that's why when the people talk about those Hollywood people that are there doing this and doing that in Hollywood, nah, it's not Hollywood. That's people who got in and was desperate and didn't know what it meant to say, okay, look, if I'm not writing, if I'm not acting, I'm writing. If I'm not writing, I'm finding other things to do. Like matter of fact, you ever heard of Orlando Jones?
I have heard of Orlando Jones.
Orlando Jones was in a recent in the news for a short bit about this show he was in called not American Horror Story, American Gods.
Okay.
Brilliant show, brilliant. I had no idea he had been writing for that show and was a producer on that show.
Okay.
But this is how it is. Because the thing is, it's like you take rappers. The rapper who makes the most money is the rapper who's producing and writing his own stuff. Because no matter where this song goes, if somebody touches this music in the future,
They got to pay you.
they got payment. This writing, no matter where this writing goes in the future, I get a piece. And that's kind of how this is. You got to be willing to go and get it and not be afraid to do such. And like I said, it's dependent. It's a very dependent industry, but you got to make sure your network is solid, and you got to make sure you're willing to move and get it.
Okay. I don't blame you. Got to eat, and I like that you're writing. And just if y'all didn't know, he's writing the next motion major picture starring Coach Hudson, aka Hudrico. Just so that's coming too in the future, y'all. We getting it in. Y'all don't even know about that. That's that new hotness. Rapid fire question, real quickly.
Don't tell them all the business.
Oh, my bad. I try to keep the huddle. We try to keep it as teammates, man. We try to keep
that's right. This the huddle. My bad.
we got to keep teammates tight. All right, dream role. If you said right now, they said, "Hey, Jesse, we got this major role. We want you in it. You can choose anybody you want as a co-star. Choose who you want. Go."
Robert De Niro.
Robert De Niro. Okay, quickly.
And just off the top of my head, Robert De Niro.
Why?
He's dope.
Okay, and sometimes
it's just he's dope. It's hard to. I've seen his work. I've admired his work. The guy is. If I could sit down with him and pick his brain,
you would love to.
I'd sit down. I'd buy him lunch, coffee, a drink, whatever. We sit down and talk.
Okay.
He's been in the industry for a long time. He's been relevant for a long time.
Robert De Niro. Good to know. I might have to see if I can set that up. See how I did that? So, hey, you never know. Hustle mentality.
You spoken into existence. I'm a supporter.
Got to eat. All right, so let's set some advice for some of our young viewers or older viewers, because with acting, like you said earlier when we first started in pre-production, it's never too late. Let's take a moment to talk to that inspiring actor or actress who's like, you know what, I want to get into acting. I'm just gonna pick up my bags, I'm gonna move to Hollywood, and it's gonna happen because that's what everybody does, and it just happens that way. Tell me, what do you tell that person, or what do you add something that you wish you knew earlier that you didn't know to help them start their career, build their career, or something that would have helped you in propelling your career?
If I'm met an actor starting out, I would say build. Don't allow fear to dictate your moves. Fear is a terrible motivator. There's don't be afraid of failure, and don't be afraid of success. Be honest with yourself and the people around you, and do the work. Do the work. Work. Do the work. Don't jump your butt up and move like, you know what I'm saying? You're gonna run out there and somebody's gonna see you on the street corner and be like, yeah, you're my next big star. That's TV. Everything in TV is produced, it's designed, it's a product meant for you to consume. But go out there. If you're going out there, go out there with a plan. Go out there with motivation, and just be prepared to work. Rejection is part of success. It tells you where you're at on the map.
There you go.
If you know where you're at on the map, be thankful, not resentful. Because as long as I know where I'm at on the map, I can make a play. I can plan my next move. If you can hand me a map, if I don't know where I am, then what good is the map? You know what I'm saying? I got to be able to find more.
I mean, just sometimes it can be just that simple. I appreciate it. I think that's great advice for anybody who's listening. Now, as for you, what's next for Jesse? How can our viewers tune in, support? What can we do to find you and see what you got going on in these big major pictures and all this stuff you got going on, man?
I'm definitely on IMDb. You can IMDb me, Jesse Bingham. IG is Jesse Bingham on IG. I'm on IG, definitely. I'm always on there running my mouth and dropping all kind of movies and things. I got a few shows on, a few projects on Amazon Prime. Coming up, the next big thing coming up is a film called Relentless. It's with I can't get all the juices out because
okay, hey, don't. Hey,
but it's a project coming up. It's really big, and I'm writing a film. I'm writing another film right now called Bagman, so that should be in production next year if things go right.
Where you want to shoot that at? You want to shoot it in Vegas just in case? Because I think it's a great place to shoot in Vegas. I mean,
Vegas is a great place to shoot, but I got to be able to I got to pay for all that. And if you can get a budget from me, yeah.
I got a place for you to stay. I mean, I got a place for you to stay.
Actors don't work for free. Well, some do.
Well, I mean, you're right.
But you get what you pay for. Now, you can come on down. Look.
Hey, come on. You let me know. Send me the script.
I'll send you the script.
Send me the script. That's how this happened, y'all. We just showed y'all a Hollywood deal right here on the Huddle.
Literally, that's how it works.
So real quick, it's time for the final timeout. This is how we typically wrap it out. And today, for the final timeout, ladies and gentlemen, listen up. Your dreams are your dreams. Nobody can take them from you. Nobody can steal them from you, but you have to go out and get them. Failure is the next door neighbor of success, but they just don't know they live in the same community. You have to not be afraid to go get what you want, and you're going to meet some adversity when you go through these things. Nothing in life comes for free. The only place you're going to find success before you find work is in the dictionary, and you have to understand that. If you want it, you have to go get it. Things in life are made to be difficult because if everything was easy, if money was coming free, everybody would be rich. There's classes for a reason, but which class do you want to be in? That's not a decision for me to make. That's not a decision for Jesse to tell you. That's for you to decide. So what's going to be your decision? That concludes today's show. Jesse, we'd like to thank our guests for coming on, sir. Thank you for your time. It has truly, truly been a blessing. I can't wait for everybody to see us on the motion picture. And that's all I got. Unless you got anything else you want to shout out to everybody.
Stay blessed. Don't be afraid in these times to do what you got to do to take care of you and your family and depend on each other.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that wraps us up another episode in the books.